everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lost with Friends. As always, I'm your host, Paul, and for this episode, which kind of introduces the next step in the character's journey, I decided to kind of throw everything out the window and invite a bunch of people on. Go ahead, everybody, introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Jake.
Hey guys, Mike Gillman.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan.
There you go, some familiar voices, some loved voices. And we are going to be discussing the episode, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. Before we get into that, though, can we talk about that title? It's not just me, it's a little odd, right?
I kind of love it.
I love it too. It makes sense. I mean, all the best cowboys in the series of Lost, define cowboys, but, are men of the show. They got daddy issues. I mean, they explore that in several flashbacks of these characters. It seems it's like one of the linking themes between everybody is if they sat around a bonfire one night and they could swap dad stories all night.
I just always thought that it would be more a Sawyer thing because he's always telling everybody to cowboy up, So
Really?
I'm not quite certain on the cowboy in regards to Jack thing. That's the only part that I don't get. I agree with you guys. I love the title. It's very funny. It makes sense within the context of the show. They all pretty much all of them have daddy issues, not just the men. But I don't quite get the cowboy part in regards to Jack.
Well, in relation to his father, he was kind of a rogue. So he wasn't necessarily defying him all the time, but there were very specific points within the show where he did defy his father. So maybe that's like the rebel aspect of it. Or not.
No, I agree. I do agree.
Okay, I can understand that. So as always, I took some notes, but I'm not sure if we want to follow that same format since we're doing things a little different with multiple people. I'm also thinking, because I've been questioning it a lot lately, do we want to maybe do spoilers in this episode or even going forward from, episodes from now on? This, it's we're recording this on Friendship Day, so I will leave it up to the Friends part of Lost with Friends. Why don't you guys decide the format for this one?
I'm all in for spoilers. Obviously, that just gives us freedom to talk, fully about the episode and about the series.
Yeah, I kind of feel spoilers are fine. After all, some time has passed. Since these episodes aired. And to be honest, I would hope, no one is listening who hasn't seen the show, and just go solely off a podcast. I'm hoping they've watched these episodes, so they can think about the things said in the discussion and whatnot, as opposed to just listening to an episode of the podcast first about the episode, then watching it. So I'd say we're pretty safe unless somebody's got an odd way of doing this as far as watching it and listening to the podcast.
As somebody who came late to Lost, I'm going to say as long as you have a disclaimer that there are spoilers, I think we'll be fine.
So yeah, I guess this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode.
Alrighty.
I'm down with that.
Let's do this.
To start us off, I have... Now, again, these notes are from the spoiler-free mindset. So, I have so much chaos. Ethan's not from the plane, and no one knows where he is. Saeed is injured, and Charlie and Claire are out in the jungle somewhere.
Yep, and it leads to a note that I had where it says, I love running in jungle shots. They're seriously very well filmed, and they, of course, the music added to it is a very intense music and intense feeling, and I could probably watch 45 minutes of that. But you're right. All the chaos led to chaos film scene of people running through the jungle.
I gotta say I love that as well. The whole shaky camera aspect really kind of lends to the chaos, and I do like that they use that.
On the Lost tour that I pulled from the internet that everybody kind of referenced, there was one specific spot where the guy just labeled it running through jungle, and that I can always notice when they use that one because I remember going there. That always excites me when they run.
Now, would that be the same place where they filmed, like, in the pilot when Kate and Charlie just ran in place?
I don't remember. There are a couple different running spots.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is it the same running spot? But all right, different ones. I can work with that.
Well, they brought in different plants too, so they could use the same spots for different things. So they imported, and you can kind of see the fake vines every now and then, but they can craft a scene very well with that. So it's hard to catch them sometimes.
Ah, gotcha.
It's all about the set dressing.
Indeed.
Jack yelling for them, but Locke knows that they need to be quiet and to not draw attention to themselves.
Yeah, that's a classic, predator versus prey thing. Like if you're a little cub and you've lost your mother and you're yelling for her, most likely an owl's going to swoop down and get you. So Locke knows that. And
yeah, that's just Jack's. He doesn't seem to be a very patient man. So, instead of taking his time like Locke did and trying to think about their surroundings, what they're doing, and whatnot. I mean, he's running through the jungle. He's yelling, So yeah.
I have Jack asks how one man could drag them off, and Locke says the better question is why. So I thought that would be a great point of debate.
As to why they took Claire?
No, but more the, was it, like, to start, was it multiple people, or was it just Ethan? Do we think? Because towards the end of this episode, he gets like super strength all of a sudden when he's fighting with Jack.
He just had the one up on him. Same, because all of a sudden you could say the same thing in a few episodes that Jack gained super strength and against Ethan. But no, my theories and thoughts on it, I guess, would be that it really did seem like it was a Ethan plan. Later on, when we actually get to explore what happened to Claire, we see Mr. Friendly says, what the heck's going on here? And it seems like Ethan has to like defend himself a little bit because he went rogue and just decided this is what needs to happen.
Well, so then I think Jack's question is, we obviously we find out the answer to Locke's question of why, but then I think Jack's question is validated, which is how.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I kind of wish we would have seen it from Ethan's perspective too. Did he quickly knock out Charlie so that Charlie wasn't flaring around? Same thing. Did he sedate Claire? Or I guess we never really will know how, since we never get that scene or anything. So, we do know that Ethan did have some sedatives on him, right? I mean, he was injecting Claire with some stuff. He was able to knock her out at various points, if I recall. So it's possible he used that.
yeah, but getting back to Locke, I think when you're trying to assess the situation, the who doesn't matter, and you can find it through the why once you find the why. So why would they take her? So that's a deep question altogether.
Yeah, and I do believe Locke he had the more correct answer. Now, Jax wasn't too crazy, but Locke's was right in that's the one you ask first.
Right, and I gotta say, I gotta throw in here, and a small note on Ethan's perceived super strength. I am with Jacob on that. I do think he had the one up on Jack, but there was a time when he lifted Charlie, off his feet with one hand. So I always found that to be a little odd.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Ethan has strength, and I mean, you'll never see me try to lift a human being with one arm. But Ethan had strength, but at the same time, if you can surprise attack somebody, that might always get you the higher ground.
True. That definitely explains it with Jack. I agree.
It's probably been talked about before, but I would just love to reiterate that Ethan is the creepiest person alive.
Oh, absolutely. I think though, great job by the actor whose name I'm blanking on, William Apather.
William Mapother.
Yeah, William Apather there. He did a great job being a super creep. So I think there's a compliment in there somewhere, but
I had a comment and then I forgot it. Oh no, it was said about how creepy he is, and I noticed in the previous episode, because like we saw him, he was introduced in Solitary, and then he was featured, of course, in Raised by Another, but I kind of noticed that he didn't really get creepy until the moment when Hurley is asking him, like, what's your name, where are you from, and he's like, why are you doing this? And Hurley's like, well, we don't really know who anybody is, and you'd think after all this time we would know each other. And then there's just like a little pause, and then he's like, you're right, you would think that. And it's just really creepy.
Yeah, it is super creepy. And my initial, like, that was suspicious, but that could be anybody on the island. Well, yeah, you'd think. But then later, when he encounters Charlie and Claire in the woods, and he's just standing there staring. Oh my gosh.
So creepy.
What's that phrase we like to use, Megan? Little did he know.
Oh, yes. Little did he know. Little did they know.
Locke is certain that there are others. We also know there were people here before, and from the distress call and the skeletons. So realistically, it's not that difficult to assume that there are other people. Of course, in this spoiler-filled episode, we absolutely know there are others, but at that moment, like, he's like, there are other people. Like, he's officially like calling it, like, there are, but Jack is skeptical. He needs proof. Locke's proof is what the ground is telling him.
Yep, that's Jack.
I have something to a point that you guys brought up earlier. I have Jack doesn't want to waste time organizing a search party. I have that I actually think both sides are right in this case. It's a tough call because time is precious, but more bodies might yield better results.
Yes, that's definitely a tough call. I guess me personally, I could go either way on that. I see the benefit of both, but then again, organizing a search party as well, I mean, that does take some time.
It takes time, and it goes right against what Locke was talking, when he did the if you have all those people, how quiet can you be? And then you're responsible for all those people too. What if they just started picking people off in the woods while they were out there? So I was okay with the smaller search party.
Well, not even that, but even Locke knows with these people in particular personally, because he had Michael and Kate, and Michael couldn't even follow a simple thing because he just, when they were trying to hunt that boar, he's just like, yelling, quit giving us the steal signal or whatever. So like, he knows that some of these people definitely can't be quiet in these jungles.
It's a note I wrote down too, is that Locke is harsh on Michael, and I was like, it's got to be from the screw up in Walkabout. So yeah, it would have been a piss poor idea to have Michael join them when he's already failed them once.
Nice use of his own words there, by the way.
Thank you. Just hoping you guys will catch that. That's another note I wrote in there. I said, red shirt comment, ... Bet Paul loved that the first time through.
I have that note later as well. I actually have more to elaborate on that note too. But here's one that I want to, Jake, you mentioned that running through the jungle camera work is great, and Mike commented on the shaky cam. What did you guys think about the camera in the operating room?
No comment there. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all the camera work in Lost, but I didn't really, off the top of my head, didn't stand out. But I enjoyed the entire episode, so I guess that'd be an aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree. There's certain, it was fine. I think if it wasn't done well, and of course, my personal opinion, then I would have noticed a bit more. But since nothing came to mind, it was fine.
Okay. And we see Christian there. So that's always nice in a Jack flashback episode. And of course, we kind of knew, based on the title, that was going to happen. But it's always nice seeing John Terry pop up.
True.
Yeah, what a fantastic actor.
He is. Great facial expressions.
Yep.
I have, when they're back at the caves and Kate says that she's going to Locke, and he says, I figured you might, because he already knows her traits.
Yeah, Locke gets Kate. It's great.
It's true.
I think he gets everybody though.
Oh yeah, no,
Obviously
he's
not
definitely got a
Ethan.
good handle on everybody's personalities and what they'll do, and he can predict them very well.
Well, Ethan's job was to stay under the radar, so he probably scoped out Locke as, oh, this is the Zen master who has obviously seen the smoke. He knows, so I'm just gonna play it like slow and cool around this guy. So he probably just avoided him.
Yeah, but he didn't, because they were hunting together in I think it was the solitary episode.
Oh yeah.
And Locke does.
'Cause that's how we
comment on
first
that, too.
meet
He
him.
said, "Hey, everything I know, this guy knows more." So, as much as I just did compliment Locke and that he gets everybody, I'm not gonna say he's perfect because he got one up by the others. But he's still very, very good at reading people, just not everyone.
Well, yeah, but Ethan again had one up on him. He already knew his character and he knew how to play it. So it'd be very hard to read that unless, Ethan was a bad actor.
I think that's one of those things. Now, of course, Ethan is a special case, but I think that's one of those things that they have to teach when they take children and stuff, the others, they have. I wonder if there's an others class where they teach them here's how you read people and here's how you blend in, because all of them just seem to know instantly.
They hold
there's a Latin class, so I'm guessing that could be taught as well.
Yeah, they hold seminars every third Thursday of the month.
Is that before or after book club?
Oh, I was just about to say something like that.
Nice.
I have that Boone, of course, feels the need to join the search party too.
I knew you. I didn't write anything down, but I was like, I already know Paul's gonna say something about that.
Classic Boone.
Yep.
I guess I'm predictable too.
Classic Paul.
Pulling a lock on you.
To piggyback on your note, Jake, I have the fact that Locke patronizes Michael, telling him that he'd get in the way and to go south with his own party. I have that I'm normally on Locke's side, but I do think that was just rude. It's justified, but it's rude.
Sure, you're right. Justified but rude. I can agree with that statement. I don't hate Locke for saying it, but just justified but rude.
I completely agree. Absolutely.
I have that even Walt knows his father just got owned in front of everyone.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jack, when he's just kind of going through the jungle and that he has zero idea what he's doing. That just makes me laugh, because he's always like, I know everything, I'm the leader, and blah, blah, blah. And in this one instance, he is just totally clueless.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Locke's comment. You're walking in circles. Thank goodness you're walking in circles. That was very funny. Still is. I mean, the first time I heard it, I was laughing. I'm still laughing.
I have Jack and Christian arguing over the now dead woman. Jack accuses his father of having been under the influence, which, as he says later on, is something that you just don't ever come back from in the medical world. Locke blames himself and says that Ethan knows more, as we commented on earlier. And I have that Locke also says that Jack is a doctor and he needs to focus on that. He's like, you be the doctor, let me be the hunter. But Jack just doesn't care.
No, there's Jack. If there's one thing you got to know about him, especially at this part of the series, he's not one to give up or he's not one to let go. Sometimes that's very good, as we see at the end of the episode of him not giving up. Sometimes it could be very stupid, but that's just not him. He's going to pick a plan and follow through with it.
Which is admirable.
Mm-hmm.
To a point.
Until you're running around in circles in the forest, wondering.
Right, exactly. Like it could end up very stupid. It running around in the middle of a forest in circles. Jack could have just passed out from dehydration right then and there, and then it would have been like, you fool. But at the same time, as we see at the end of the episode, when he stuck his mind to getting Charlie back, and reviving him, it ended up working. So admirable, and it's a big 50-50, but when it works, it works.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's better to try than not, and then wonder what if.
Absolutely. I have that Michael complaining about Locke, the fact that he was rude to him, and he pretty much makes reference to the A-team dynamic, which we've talked about several times on this show already. And then Walt says about Locke being a warrior and the only one prepared. Michael is still upset that his son looks up to someone else. And then Michael just places Walt with Hurley, but Hurley doesn't seem to get a say in that.
He really doesn't,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem like Hurley was complaining then. I mean, a little later on after their game they were complaining. But actually on this scene here, I had a question. Hurley says, back home, I'm known as something of a warrior myself. Why? What? Like, I wouldn't have, if I knew Hurley outside of the island, I don't think I would have been calling him a warrior.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm trying
Later
to think.
reveals he was 17th in a backgammon contest. Like, that's not very warrior-like, dude, but okay.
No, I'm thinking if maybe it was either, like, what's his friend? The one, the
Johnny?
weird-looking kid who ends up running off with the girlfriend.
Johnny.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, maybe amongst their...
DJ Qualls.
Yeah, DJ
Johnny.
Qualls, yeah.
Johnny.
Like, I wonder if amongst them, they would, like, give each other, like, compliments or nicknames like that. You know what I mean?
And Hurley
Like,
gets
especially
warrior?
because at the one point, like, he did stand up and he's just like, Starla, why don't you go out with me? And it's like, dude, that's a warrior move or something like that,
Well, they were kind of like the, I don't know, typical Hollywood nerd. So I'm sure they played games. So maybe
I guess, I guess in one of those games he could have been a warrior. I mean, they were Locke's work buddy was calling him, Colonel. So I guess it's very possible that nickname came from that. But I wish they would explore that a little more then. Because I'm like, I can't think of one instance in this man's life where I'd be calling him a warrior.
Right.
I mean, another thing to get a little, like, deeper, maybe because, after he wins the lottery, like, so many bad things happen to him. His mom breaks her ankle, his grandfather dies, his house catches fire, his girlfriend runs off, that guy jumps out of the building where, like, when...
Hilarious.
So maybe nobody called him that, but maybe he thinks of himself as like a warrior because he survived all of those things. He made it through.
Nope,
Yeah.
actually, in the span of 30 seconds, I just realized maybe one point that he could have been called warrior is when he was at the mental hospital and he was a ping pong champion.
Oh.
Maybe they were calling him warrior for that because he was just so good at it. but that's the best I got.
Yeah. Now, didn't he support and give to a lot of charities as well? I thought.
Yeah, because he was trying to get rid of the money.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it never said though if he had done it.
Well,
I know he said give it all away.
I know he did in the Sideways.
In the sideways, yes. In the sideways, he definitely does.
True.
Uh,
True.
But in the flashbacks, I don't know if he actually went through with it.
I love when Locke is just like adamant. He's like, I'm taking a break.
I was a frequenter of summer camps, and I have many memories of camp counselors doing that, and it always gives me like little happy memories when I watch when I watch John Locke do that, because it's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Time for trail mix, and I see like in my head little happy Locke eating his trail mix. Good.
That's another prequel spin-off that I want, by the way. Little Happy Locke.
Okay.
Oh.
Please.
Like Locke is like a little kid, but still a badass.
Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
like, what's one of the like, maybe not Scooby-Doo, like maybe not when they did that version of like the little kids, but like, we've seen things where, they'll take and they make, like kind of like, if Locke was like Stewie Griffin or something.
Yeah. I definitely see a cartoon.
Yeah.
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 Definitely as a cartoon. And which means Terry O'Quinn, whether he, which he doesn't age, but if he started to age ever, like, because it's just his voice, he could do it forever.
That's true.
Sounds good to me.
I'm in.
That's like the only spinoff I would actually be okay with.
Oh, did you not hear mine and Jake's pitch for the spin-off prequel, Kate in College?
Oh yeah. No,
Well,
but did you guys hear Michael Emerson and Tara Quinn not long after Lost ended? They were supposed to do some show together where I think they were like retired cops or something like that.
I
You guys
I'm
heard
pretty
that.
sure JJ was supposed to be producing it, too.
I would be so okay with that.
Oh, of course. Those two
Yeah,
anything together.
But
I-
then Person of Interest came up instead.
Yeah, and then Terry O'Quinn was in the very short-lived 666 Dark Avenue or Park Avenue, which ended way too short. But yeah, so they kind of did their own things.
They'll reunite and it will feel so good.
Oh gosh, yes.
Like we know it should.
Yes. Thank you, only person that would acknowledge my joke.
I got it. I chuckled.
No.
Okay, so back to the episode. If we must. I have Kate telling Jack that he needs to knock his attitude off, of course. And then that's what he blames himself for not believing Claire. And then they find the L tape. Then they find the A, and then they find a second trail. And they start to question if they split up or, what happened. And then Kate makes a good point about the dummy trail. Maybe he backtracked. But from what I understand, and here's me pointing a logical hole in things again. When you walk, I don't know about you guys, I tend to walk heel to toe. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're walking, you put most of your weight down first on the first, so the heel, and then the toe would be a little bit lighter. But when you're walking backward, so the heel of your footprint is going to be a little deeper. But when you're walking backwards, you put your toe down first. So then the footprint would look either uneven or extremely even, which should stand out to Locke if that were the case, right? If he's such a good tracker, he should notice something like that.
I wish you guys could see me right now. I'm walking around a room backwards and forward.
I just did that too.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the surface they were walking on. Maybe it just so happened that it does come out evenly enough to look like a normal footprint. Like I wish. Most of the snow's melted around here, but I can't even test it outside. So, Yeah, now I'm curious myself on how that would look.
There were some spots where we walked where it was extremely soggy, and I feel like in those spots our footprints were more even because my shoe would get sucked in. But I guess it does depend on, like, was it solid? Was it soggy? So there are a lot of factors there they didn't think about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an easy explanation for Kate.
Yeah.
And valid.
Oh, absolutely. It's just that's one of those things that makes me go, And see, like Jake said, we can't see him. You can't see me. I'm doing the I have a beard, so I'm going to stroke it while I ponder that question.
Oh, I can perfectly picture that.
I'm also stroking my beard.
I'm sorry, Megan. That was funny, but his immediate reaction was way funnier. Because I've come to expect things like that from you.
That was good. And like Mike's beard is just like chilling. Nobody's touching that. I mean, you got the beard right now, Mike. Like, what's?
Oh no! You know what? I shaved. I shaved it off. I've barely got any stubble right now.
Okay, so then you're not left out. That's good.
Exactly.
I have Walt explaining the whole story to Sawyer is hilarious. Just their interaction, I just find incredibly funny.
Yeah, there needed to be more Walt and Sawyer moments.
I agree.
And Walt gets a nickname.
But that's another buddy comedy I would watch.
Yes, easily.
It's like a modern day Different Strokes.
I never saw that show.
It wasn't too bad.
A couple episodes here and there, but
That's
much.
the What You Talking About Willis show, right?
That's it.
Yep.
I think. Yes.
Yes.
So what was Walt's nickname? I feel like it was Short Stack or something like that. Like something about
Rerun?
pancakes.
Right? Was that the time? Why am I blanking on this too? I just watched the episode last night.
What did you say, Jake?
Is it Rerun?
No.
It's not Rerun. Is it Short Stack?
Tattoo. Wait, was it Tattoo? I think?
Tattoo.
There we go. So many
Because it's
Sawyer.
Fantasy Island.
Yeah. Yep.
Referencing his shortness.
Gotcha.
And then Sawyer pretty much sums up exactly what happened while saying it in a sarcastic voice. You know, a ringer was planted and kidnapped a pregnant girl, and a washed-up rock star from VH1 has-beens, or something like that.
Yeah, that's literally what happened.
He can make anything sound ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And then read a book about bunnies.
And then Walt spills the beans that Saeed is back, and that's the only thing that seems to interest Sawyer.
Yep, definitely still holding on to a little grudge from before.
Yeah.
Which, if we remember I understand holding a grudge, and at one point when Sawyer's talking to him a little bit later, he still has bandages on his fingers, and he says that he's still taking the antibiotics. But in the timeline of the show, it's been like a week and a half.
Well, Paul, I'm sure all the times you got tortured and bamboo went under your fingernails, do people usually heal after a week?
On that island, yes.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's a good response. I will allow it.
But a usual round of antibiotics is 10 days.
Yeah, generally. 8 to 10.
Boom. Mic drop.
Calling back to Jake's comment before, Boone makes a Star Trek reference, one of my absolute favorites. And then Locke mentions being a piss-poor captain if his people die. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure Terry O'Quinn appeared on Star Trek The Next Generation as a Starfleet captain.
Oh.
Boone never believes what Locke did in the real world, and knowing what he knows, I can't blame him. I have Christian trying to get Jack to sign the papers, and they fight again. Jack thinks his father should be stripped of his license, and Christian just thinks the tough love approach was worth it because it made his son a better surgeon. He flattered Jack's ego, plays a sad song, and then Jack finally signs it.
Yep. What a great play on the emotions there.
I'm really surprised Jack fell for that. He I don't know.
But at the same time, it's that's what Jack always has wanted. So being able to hear it, there was the sincere hand on his chest shoulder there, and he really thought he had it. The one thing he had been dying for almost his entire life, up to that point. So
Yes.
it was a very emotional moment for him, and we've all been in emotional moments where we don't think straight. So I guess it got him.
True, but given the circumstances under which he was getting it, I'm a little surprised that he didn't see past that.
Yeah, very good point.
So I mean, it's his father's whole life on the line here, basically, and now he gets this, love and recognition. I don't know. I guess, much to your point. He just wanted it so badly. He doesn't care under what circumstance, that he got it. Maybe he thought he would get more of it, since he did give in,
As someone who seeks the approval of others, I can totally relate that you don't necessarily, you're just in that moment of like, approval, yay.
Oh yeah. Again, I mean, I will definitely say I've been there. I don't think it's really been used to manipulate me the wrong way, but when I've gotten the approval that I really wanted or something, I'm on cloud nine that I can ignore other things.
Sure, yeah.
I have Sawyer gets to confront Saeed, and he gets very wordy, which I love because that adds the layers to him of he's not just a hick. He says like reprisal, and what's another? I can't remember the other words that he says, but like he gets very wordy in that, and I just love those extra layers added to him.
Oh yeah, or when he, you see him reading Watership Down or Of Mice and Men, which is a favorite book of mine and stuff. Yeah, you realize there's a lot more to him than previously thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll agree. Now, do you think he just started reading on the island, or do you think that's just something he did, before they got to the island?
Never thought about that. I don't. Wait a minute. Is there a scene when he's in prison? Isn't he reading?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, tough to say if he was like a hardcore reader,
Sure.
prior to that, but I'm sure he picked up a book in his time.
That makes
I
sense.
think I would think he would need to maybe not read everything, but I would think that he would need stuff to get a better understanding of people, get a better understanding of ways to manipulate. Like he could read The Great Gatsby and be like, okay, this is how I fit into like a rich person's scenario for all of his con man things.
It also would make him look more educated because I think it's safe to put your money on he didn't go to college. But it would make him appear more educated and articulate when talking to somebody, trying to con them out of something.
Sure. I'll go along with that.
And actually, to Jake's point of he was reading in prison. I know at one point when he mentions with Ben, Of Mice and Men, but I don't think that we saw, unless it was in the library in the Hatch. I don't think we ever saw him reading that book in particular. So I would assume that it was from before the island.
Yeah.
Okay. But, oddly, he's, needed glasses, according to Jack. And, with him reading a bit more there, I don't think he noticed that before because he wasn't sure what was going on. I don't, I guess like we discussed before, he probably didn't read much before, he got there. Otherwise, he would have probably known that he needed glasses because of the headaches he got from reading.
He was reading pretty heavily on the island, though.
Yeah.
Much more than he would have had off the island. So
Right.
maybe it just bothered him a little more.
Yep, I can see that.
Yep.
And the island didn't fix that for some reason.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it didn't fix, and from what I understand, that was because Terry O'Quinn he thought the effects makeup was cool, but it didn't fix the scar on his eye that he gets. He wakes up with that in the first few episodes, and of course it becomes like a trait of his character. But from what I understand, like Jack, he starts out and he has like the scrapes, and all of them have like bruises and stuff, and they heal very quickly. But Terry O'Quinn he wanted that scar above and below the eye because he thought that it was cool and made his character look like edgier. So,
Sure.
It doesn't heal everything, I guess.
Right.
I have, Saeed says that he was captured by Danielle, and then pretty much between the two of them, Saeed and Sawyer, they say all the things that the audience should be thinking. Are there other people? Do you really believe this? And whatever. And of course, from the other side of this episode, we know there's at least one other person, but that whole conversation that they have, it very much, is what I would think the audience would be having either, with themselves or, on the message boards at the time and things like that. I also have that Sawyer tells Saeed about the water moving up on the beach, which is the first mention of this, and that they kept the signal fire burning. Walt and Hurley playing backgammon, and literally just today I noticed for the first time that before Hurley yells for Walt to go, Walt blew on the dice 4 times.
Oh.
How much did they explore the coastline moving up? Like, did they just like say, oh, I remember them saying something about, oh, the tide's coming in, but like really this time, but I don't remember.
The tide came in, and it was going to start washing up whatever camp they had put on the beach, so that forced them to move inwards on the island. So that was how that plot came about, getting to the caves, I guess.
Yeah, but
no, that wasn't. No, that was when they move further down the beach to where they end up eventually setting up camp.
There you go. All right. One day I'll rewatch the entire series and not just the episodes I'm signed up to do. But there you go.
I'm just remembering them moving their stuff inland. That's not this episode, is it?
Not
what do you
this
mean inland?
No, they're already at the caves. They're already inland here.
Okay, there was a point, and I've been rewatching, so this could be the wrong episode, but there was a point where I realized that the tide was coming in, and I think Saeed or Jack said something about, well, this is higher than usual, and it keeps coming in, and nobody mentions a tsunami, just that it's weird. And I think, does that have anything to do with the goings-on inside the hatch? Maybe the island is moving somehow? Or is it just natural erosion?
Well, if it is natural erosion, it's kind of odd that it affected the one part that they were at, but then they move further down the beach to set up what becomes the beach camp for the rest of the series, but it's not affecting there at all.
Well, sometimes that does happen on beaches where like parts of one beach go and deposit on another beach, and that happens, but it like that in my head stuck out pretty specifically of, oh yeah, the island moves. Maybe that's it.
That's possible.
Well,
From what I understand, I think that was only because they just wanted to, because where that was filmed, if I remember correctly from the tour, that was, where they had the plane and everything, and that was where, like, there was a road there, so they kept having to, like, stop traffic every time they wanted to film something in that particular section of the beach, like where the fuselage was, and to get the fuselage on, well, not, because they burned it, but, like, the rest of the other plane pieces and stuff, to get them onto that part of the beach became a hassle, so they needed a more secluded area.
yeah, I remember from when we went there, it was narrower too than the rest of the beaches, so that probably posed a problem as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, is 17th in a tournament good?
17th out of what? 17? I mean,
Yeah, that was never specified, so it's hard to tell.
Right.
I'm just wondering now. I personally don't know how to play. My mother does, but like, how many people know how to play backgammon for there to be at least 17 people in a tournament in that section of California
I
or
can't
wherever?
play the game either. I thought about it afterwards. And I'm like, it was probably back in the mental institution. They have ping pong. They probably have backgammon there, and I'm sure maybe a couple of them a few of them, at least 17, know how to play. But I don't know.
Um, I have the first hint at Walt having another dad. What's his name? Brian, right?
Yes.
Okay. Which I've seen that guy in other things. I know we don't see him in this episode, but I've seen that guy in other things. I have Hurley says he has a meeting, and then he insists that Walt will get the money he's owed. Which, if I'm not mistaken, he makes that comment with Charlie later as well.
He does, yeah. And actually, it's one of the biggest plot holes ever that it doesn't appear that he got the money. I guess after the epilogue, who knows what really happened, but we didn't actually get to witness the money exchange.
Yeah, because they did visit each other, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the epilogue, yeah, like,
No. I mean, Oceanic 6. Didn't Walt come visit Hurley in the mental institution, right?
Yes. But there was no, here's a check for 20 grand.
I'm sure that's how he got in that fancy boarding school.
Ooh, that's very possible.
But they got settlement money too, so that might do it as well.
Yeah, but Michael and Walt wouldn't have.
Yeah, Walt did not get settlement money, and so
because they couldn't even tell anybody that they were back.
Oh yeah, so maybe it was Hurley.
Oh, take that, Jake.
No, I can totally roll with that theory. Like, I like it. So
that's headcanon.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's canon in my book. Like, it fits, it works, it's all good.
I have that Boone and Locke are just following Locke's gut when they're just wandering through the jungle, and it turns out that Locke was wrong about the tracking this time, because they went on the wrong trail. Boone talks about the fact that he ran a business, which he's mentioned a few times. But not even that he ran really the business, he ran one of these subsidiaries, which I guess is a thing, like, you know what I mean, like a big deal, but the way he always made it sound was like, I run a, like a multi-billion-dollar, you know what I mean? Like, he made himself sound like, the Monopoly man or something.
Yeah, that really is brings him down on the ladder a little.
Yeah, because he was so high up there before.
Yeah, and nobody knew it was Mommy's company.
I love the fact that Locke knows exactly when it's going to rain.
Yeah, like how much research, like, to just notice slight atmospheric pressure changes or something to bring it down to a minute. Like, man, this guy was really looking forward to his walkabout.
And then, of course, Boone has that fantastic line that I personally laugh at it every time. I'm not sure I could be friends with anybody who doesn't at least smile when he says about, did they teach you how to predict the weather at a box company?
Great line.
Yeah.
And then elsewhere, Jack and Kate happen upon another Charlie clue. And then we hear Claire's screams, but Kate didn't.
Yeah, I was trying to rationalize that one. I'd come up with like some sort of theory, but I had nothing.
Yeah, that was odd. I agree.
But before, in other episodes, like, Saeed heard screaming, right? Or at least voices.
Right, he was by himself, though. And I guess, can the voices, do they have the ability to just show themselves to one person at a time? That's, like I said, I couldn't come up with a theory, though, by the end of the day yesterday.
But we also have to, you're talking about the Whispers, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to remember the Whispers and Claire are two different things. Knowing what we know the whispers are, because
Right.
that was Claire screaming. Like it was, you know what I mean? It wasn't just random screaming. Like that, as odd as it sounds, that scream had an accent to it.
Yeah. Do you think the black smoke could have replicated that somehow?
I'm down for almost any theory for that one.
I actually, yeah, I think that is possible. Yeah,
Because it did replicate other things. So,
yeah, I never
Yeah.
thought about it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have Jack gets knocked out, and there's Ethan, and he's super strong all of a sudden, which, you know, we talked about a little earlier. I have that he threatens to kill one of them before they get into a fight, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's either that character or somebody else says that line or a similar line later in the series, right?
If you don't stop following me, I will kill one of them.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Ben line to me.
Yeah, I'm racking the brain right now. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but it's very possible.
I have Jack sees his father in the flashback talking with a man. I remember reading at one point that people thought the man looked like or was Ethan, and on the island this was Ethan's payback. His wife or girlfriend or whatever was pregnant and off the island, so he was taking Claire to kind of make up for that on the island. Obviously some pieces don't fit in that theory, but I just love how wild some of the theories got back in the original time of the show.
Yeah.
Kate wakes Jack up, and Jack insists Ethan was there. Which now, we think that actually happened, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that happened.
Because I think they play it very well that it could have just been he fell, maybe hit his head on a rock, and that's how he got this, like the scratches on his face and stuff.
No, I'm definitely team Ethan was there.
Same here.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I definitely think he was actually there, but I think that they played that very well. In the flashback, Jack changes his statement upon finding out that the woman was in the early stages of pregnancy. Where does that fit in with the timeline of Jack and Sarah thinking that they might have been pregnant? Because could that maybe have been a factor for him? Because they were because she took the pregnancy test at the one point, and I don't know if they were trying or there was they thought maybe at one point she was, but I'm not quite sure where that fits in the timeline.
Really good point.
I hear Jake typing up lost
I know.
media.
You know me so well. Yes, I am gonna just kind of try to skim Lostpedia as much as I can. So if you guys could get this awkward small talk, that'd be pretty cool.
Did we
But
see a wedding ring on his finger?
I didn't notice. I don't even know if we actually see his hands in that scene, the way that they shot him.
Yeah.
apparently this is after him and Sarah are already divorced.
Okay. I think it still could have played a part in it, though.
It's possible. And actually, that's one thing I wrote down at the end. I said, what was Jack's intentions on ratting out Christian? Was it because he was trying to do the right thing? Or was it because he saw Christian manipulate the husband just like he manipulated Jack? And was this Jack's way of lashing out and then finally getting victory over his dad? Because I first saw that scene where Christian's counseling the husband, and Jack goes, "Who's that?" And I was like, man, that's a really pointless flashback. But then I realized, like, oh, Christian kind of puts his hand on the husband's, upper shoulder, upper chest there, just like he did with Jack in the previous flashback. So that's what made Jack kind of snap. So was it, I mean, I guess it could be a combination of both. That, yes, it's the right thing to do. You can't have an intoxicated surgeon out there. But was it also like, you know what, Dad? enough is enough. You know, you've manipulated me, you've tried to mold me, and you weren't there for me. This is how it ends.
I actually never thought about that.
Stunned us into silence, but I agree.
Not the first time. During Walkabout or something, I had mentioned something to Paul, and I was like, "You there? You there?" And he's like, "No, I was." It's like I'm just sucking it all in. Like I never heard this theory before.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was about though.
It was.
I've recorded so many of these, Jake.
No, it was. I guess the whole letting it go, maybe with Jack.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Yeah. But yeah, no, that actually, I mean, I could see that. I always thought it was more. I think it was to the. I don't think it was that he thought, oh well, he's manipulating that guy, but I think he realized that, like, especially if Christian knew before he even stepped in the room and called Christian off. You know, like Christian knew that she was in the early stages of pregnancy, and nowhere in any conversations did that ever come up to Jack. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge thing that he that got left out overall. Which honestly, though, I think Jack probably should have seen it on a chart at some point. But I think that was the thing. I mean, I'm not saying that that you know him manipulating the husband wasn't part of it, but I always just thought it was the fact that he realized that he was manipulated and that Christian purposely didn't tell him certain information that would have changed things emotionally.
Yeah, like I say, I can see it being a combination of both. Yeah, not knowing that the girl was pregnant was probably like, you know, dang it, Dad, you know, like you pull this crap all the time. You either don't give me full stories or whatever like that, and you know, enough is enough. But you know, definitely up for discussion.
To be fair, though, in all reality, and yeah, you know, obviously, once you like I said earlier, you know, once you bring alcohol into it, like that's something that you don't come back from in the medical community. But realistically, Jack should never have I think he was in the wrong as well to go in there and call his father off, because like Christian said, if you were here and I was out somewhere and you could have done it, why did they call me?
Well, I assume that the nurses thought they were going to get sober Christian out there, and then that was not the case.
But it doesn't matter. Like he's this you know, and Jack even says in the White Rabbit episode, like his father is a chief of surgery, whether it's a department or at a hospital overall. This is where my Grey's Anatomy knowledge comes in. Whether it's at a department or overall, like unless you're on equal level with that person, like if he's the chief of because the spine would be like neurosurgery, so like unless Jack is like the chief of, say, cardiothoracic surgery, which we know he's not. We know he's also a spinal surgeon. But like they would be equal, and then he could say like, hey, listen, you know what, whatever. But you, like he's talking back to his boss, and he's like going like, you know, get out of here, get away from her, or whatever. And in this case, it worked out because, you know, he had a good. It turns out he had a good reason. But if he hadn't had a good reason, this could have backfired a lot on Jack, because you just don't do stuff like that with somebody in charge of you in that type of situation where it is literally life or death.
So you think that Jack should have just let Christian completely fail?
Well, either way,
because that's not Jack's personality either. Like he's
no, I know that, but I definitely I don't think Jack was completely right in what he did.
You're right. Yeah, he definitely went past the hierarchy there, the order of how things go. But maybe he was trying to pull the whole, well, that's my dad kind of card.
Yeah. I have about the fact that Jack says, you know, that his father was impaired, which pretty much, of course, answers the question of White Rabbit, you know, when the mom says about what Jack did. and that answers that question. So, might one argue that this is one of the first instances of a bigger question being answered?
Hmm.
And I'm not talking like hatch big, like.
Right, right. Hmm.
And then they find the letter E, of course, and they see Charlie hanging there, and Jack immediately goes into doctor mode. Kate starts to climb the thing, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere online that this is one of the things where she's climbing up something, and it has an instance of her underpants showing.
I don't think I caught that, but come on. All right. There are people out there that definitely would.
Yes, there are people out there that definitely would.
Oh, Paul.
Actually, no. Me and on that walkabout thing, Paul brought up the whole Hurley's checking out Kate's ass, and I'm like, yeah, you and Hurley.
Oh,
Yeah?
Yeah. So what? Own it, Paul. Own it.
Oh, right. I'm so terrible because I was looking at a pretty girl. Ooh. And she's dangerous, too.
Ooh.
This is true.
Megan, my next note concerns you because I have such a serious scene. I remember Megan messaging me the other day during this episode when you guys were rewatching it. And could you tell the audience what you told me then, or what you were feeling then?
Was it that Charlie sucked a little less?
It was something along those lines, yes. I remember getting a message saying, that you were watching this episode, and despite the fact that you don't like him, you were starting to tear up.
Yeah, it's a pretty emotional scene.
The music was great in that scene as well.
Yep. Actually, I got a comment on that. So you're right. It was a great scene up to a certain time. So I thought that scene actually went slightly too long. You get Kate crying, you get the music going, and Jack gives up. I think in like typical episodes, and probably what should have been done here, is that's when Charlie gets revived. But then the music stops, and you see Jack turn around and go back at it. And to me, it was very predictable that, okay, if he's going for round 2, it's probably going to work this time.
Yeah. I'm referencing our conversation, and I started it with, and Charlie is breathing, wow, in all caps. And then I did say that it makes me tear up, which is true. He was pretty good to Claire for that space of time, like when he was trying to make her happier, when she was scared, and like making sure she felt protected. So he had his moments, I admit it.
In response to Jake's thing about he thought the scene went on a little too long, I disagree because I feel that it was the false finish, because maybe people thought, yes, okay, that at a certain point it did get a little predictable of like, okay, now we see he's going back in, and now, obviously we know that Charlie's going to survive if he's, going in for round 2. But I think it was meant to, as you pointed out in the previous episode about, he's always, he can't let anything go, and everybody's always telling him to let things go, and they have that nice moment with the music and Kate crying, and perhaps we're thinking at this moment maybe he's finally letting something go. He couldn't save the woman on the mainland, and now he can't save Charlie, and he's realizing that sometimes he can't change everything, or he can't fix everything. And then that, maybe you have that sense. But then all of a sudden he's like, nah, screw all that, bam! And he just starts smacking his Charlie's chest, because it subverts that thing of you thinking, oh, maybe there's a turnaround for this character, and, maybe this is where it's gonna either end or it's gonna go to commercial, but then it's not. because all of a sudden he's like, nope, can't do it. And then he goes back to work in typical Jack fashion. So I think it definitely went along with who the character is versus what I think we should have been thinking, which was, oh, maybe he's changed or whatever. Because then it also plays into he couldn't save the woman on the mainland, but he can save Charlie.
Yeah, that's actually very good. And I'm almost completely 180 my thoughts on just that a few minutes ago. But I think we talked about this in the Walkabout episode there. But, it takes Jack a very long time to change his views on things, that he does need to let go a little. And I'm actually now very glad that he didn't let go now in the 11th episode of the first season, that he still did what Jack's always going to do and keep fighting or keep going at whatever he wants to go at. So, I am kind of glad they kind of had that false, oh, he changed. And then it's like, nah, he ain't going to change. And then they kept that going for years. So, yeah, I do kind of like what you just said there, Paul.
Thank you.
I'd like to also interject the fact that Charlie should have had way more broken ribs than he did.
Oh yeah, definitely. The noises made were those were some heavy hits there.
Oh yeah, he took quite a beat.
Would it have been ribs or the sternum?
All of it.
Everything.
When you're doing regular compressions, that things break. So he was hitting him very hard, and it was
I've been told the trick about CPR is that you're not doing it right if you're not breaking ribs.
Yeah, me too. They actually told me that in my first aid class.
There you go.
So, yeah, I always think of that when I see that scene.
Oh, see, that should have been another sign to Boone in the pilot that he wasn't doing it right, because he didn't practically kill Rose.
Right.
Aww.
I have, the By the way, I would also like to point out that all of my guests so far in this episode, one of whom got on my case about me doing the exact same thing, but I did not bring up the music once. Anyone who's listened to every episode of this series, especially from the beginning, knows that I was all into, I need to mention the music, I need to mention the music, I need to mention the music every time, because Michael Giacchino is great. And then when I got to a certain person's episode, that person was like, yeah, let's not talk about the music all the time. And who was the first person to bring up the music in that particular episode?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you were going to bring it up, Paul. I was like, is he still doing that? Is he still bringing it up every episode? But I was like, you know what? The music was really good at some of these points that you just gotta say something.
I don't disagree. I have partly going on your point, Megan, of he should have had broken ribs. I have Dominic Monaghan is a trooper for not reacting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm wondering if they had a Dominic dummy at some point, or if that was really him.
Or something under his shirt.
Lostpedia, actually. Sorry. In Lostpedia, I sound like a huge nerd here. In Lostpedia, actually, it did mention that I guess I didn't really catch it, but a couple scenes where you can see Dominic breathe a little. And then I think in one of the hits, a little something or other pops out from underneath Dominic's shirt. Since Jack was definitely not hitting directly on the chest, he's probably hitting some pad or something. But apparently somebody caught something.
Okay.
And that's my nerd boy moment for the night. Ooh, here's something I know Paul didn't catch. I think he would have said it by now. When Jack is trying to revive Charlie, he hits him in the chest 23 times before the first time he gives up.
Actually, my very next note, Jake.
No!
Actually.
You're lying.
I swear to you, I will send it to you right now. My very next note is, did we count how many punches? Was it one of the numbers until he finally came back?
Somebody did, and it's 23.
See, I'm like Locke and Ethan. I'm a step ahead of you, buddy.
Wow. That's I don't know if that's sad or what, but okay.
I know how to be a good host, man. What can I say?
Yeah, no, you're really looking into this. again, this isn't the first rewatch I've done, probably not even the second, but I'm still not counting things. Like, I guess that's just not where my priorities are, like the numbers and where they show up. But so I'll hand it to you. Like, you're really thinking about everything.
Um, I have, we cut to it's a little bit later at night, and Charlie is just there staring. I don't know why. It's just he looks a little creepy. He's not supposed to, but he looks a little creepy. And then Walt says about the fact that they got Charlie, and he hasn't said anything, but that they didn't get Claire. Then Charlie says all they wanted was Claire, and his use of the word "they" to me confirms at some point somebody else came through, and that it is others, plural.
That is very true. I wrote that down as well, and I said all they wanted was Claire. Apparently, question is answered on that.
And then Shannon is worried about Boone, which is always nice because they don't have the best relationship, although sometimes they do.
Right. LOL.
I have Kate tells Shannon that the one person her brother is safe with is Locke.
Foreshadowing.
Yep. And then of course Boone and Locke at the end. Locke feels something, and he insists that they aren't lost. And Boone, now thinking Locke is crazy, decides to go back. Locke tosses him the flashlight and he misses, and we hear it. Clang. They start digging it out, something steel, and thus begins the next leg of the story that is Lost. And I'll tell you straight up, that moment, the original discovery of the hatch, that is why I wanted to do a group discussion on this episode. Because I wanted all of us to kind of talk about that, because that is like, other than maybe hearing the monster for the first time, I would say that's one of the most important moments in season 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I remember the moment it happened and looking over at Mike and going, "What is that?" And that was one of about 100 times that I did that to him during the first time I watched it. But yeah, it was a very distinct memory.
Yeah.
That's Megan and you and I talked about it. Well, actually, you and Mike and I talked about it when we did the discussion on the Moth, but I said that that's definitely one of those times that I was glad that I was binge watching it. Jake, on the other hand, was watching week to week, if I'm not mistaken, when it first season at this point. What did you think? What was going on at that point?
I still wasn't like hardcore into Lost, so like I wasn't really theorizing. I wasn't going on the internet or anything like that. I was like, yes, this is weird. Boone brings up, is it a part of the plane? And I was pretty sure that it wasn't. I didn't realize that this was gonna. I knew obviously they would have to come back to this, but it wasn't really until a few episodes in where they're slowly but surely starting to dig it out and trying to get into it. I didn't realize the importance of it, obviously, for the first time around. So I just said, oh, okay, so there's something in the ground. I didn't think it was going to be a giant hatch. I didn't think there was going to be somebody else down there or anything. I was kind of in it for the ride at that time. So it didn't have that like whoa effect that Megan had. I was interested, but not Megan interested. And that's a great level to be. Again, I was along for the ride at that time.
Okay. I know one of the things that I remember whenever Damon and Carlton talk about, especially Damon in particular, about coming up with kind of the whole concept of the show, and they thought, especially after Lloyd Braun got fired at ABC, and they thought that no one was really going to watch the show, and they decided, they were like, okay, we're going to get 13 episodes or somewhere around there, about 13 episodes, because that's what most shows tend to get at first. And they were like, well, let's just make the best 13 hours of TV that we possibly can. And one of those things that they talked about, from what he said in the early things, was like, okay, what if this happens, and what if this happens, and what if they what if they discover a hatch at some point? And all I think every time I hear that is that's what they wanted to do within the first 13 episodes. This is episode 11, 10, 11, something like that. And at a certain point, they were going to do that and think that the series was just going to be over. How mean is that? Like, I am so glad that I live in this universe where the show kept going, because, like, somewhere in an alternate universe, somebody is mad that the show got canceled. Like,
Yeah, with no explanation there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be rough.
but yeah, that was that final moment. That was the main reason, because I wanted, several of the guests that I've had so far on the show to be here so that we could all, talk about and comment on, like I said, probably one of the bigger moments from the first season, at least definitely the first half of the first season, while we're still getting to know these characters. And, one of the biggest moments, and I just wanted all of us to kind of share in this discussion. I didn't want it to be any one particular person got this and, somebody else was like, oh, well, I wanted to say something about that or whatever. I just wanted all of us to kind of be here for that.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely.
I'm flattered.
But that was my last note, was, the fact that that starts the next journey, the next section of the journey that is Lost. Did you guys have anything else in regards to this episode?
No, not off the top of my head.
No, not over here either.
Well, I think we're good on that.
Okay. I would like to thank you guys for participating in this. And I know that it's, schedules are a little bit difficult, so I'd like to thank you for taking the time. When I ask, hey, can you talk with me for a little bit about this? I'd like to thank the listeners for being with us up until this point, in not just this episode, but the series overall. Hopefully the spoiler aspect of this episode didn't turn you off of the thing, and hopefully, maybe it'll get some more people into the show, as we said. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, so I'm interested to see that. I think we would all love to hear any comments or questions or anything like that through Facebook or Twitter, or comment directly on the YouTube video. Is there, would you guys like to plug your social media things once again?
I'll let Mike go first because his is the coolest.
All right, thanks. Just look me up, Michael Gillman Photography on Facebook. michaelgillman.photography is my website. And, of course, again, Michael Gillman Photography on Instagram.
And you can find me, Jacob Wolkan, on Facebook and all my other social media, Twitter, Instagram, and even the Snapchat at JakeLCE.
And you can find me at adventuresinverdance.com, or under one of the many personalities and or corporations that I professionally catfish for.
Definitely follow these guys. You'll probably be hearing their voices a lot more because they are just incredible to talk to. I hope you can just hear just the fun that we have. And they're great people. They would love to interact with all of you as well. To hit them up with Lost theories, or just, hey, because they're great. They're some of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and they can be your friends too. Thank you guys once again for being on the episode, and I guess I'll wrap it up with our traditional thank you, namaste, and good luck.
Namaste.
Namaste. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Normally, right about now, you would hear me doing the whole hey, like, share, subscribe spiel. But for this particular episode, just having this great conversation with these people, there were some parts that I had to cut out and whatever. There was one part in particular that I thought was really funny. It was a nice little callback to a previous discussion from a previous episode. And it didn't really fit quite with the episode, but I thought it would still be enjoyed by all of you. I know it was enjoyed by me and the participants, so I'm going to add that little bit in here. After that, please, always remember, like, share, subscribe if you love all of the stuffs here on the Clock Shelves Entertainment channel. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I'm still waiting on our fans to send us our T-shirts. Which, by the way, this episode introduces the concept.
Wait, what are we talking about? T-shirt? I'm getting a T-shirt?
So we've decided that John Locke is technically the Hermione of Lost.
Sure. I can roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like the ultimate disseminator of knowledge and reason. So why not?
So
we
how does
decided
this translate to T-shirts?
So we decided that we want T-shirts that just say John Locke is my Hermione.
Oh, heck yes. All right, sign me up for like 10. Okay.
And probably just his face on it.
With that orange slice smile.
With the orange slice.
Yes, absolutely.
Sweet. Yeah, let's do that. And if anybody listening wants to get in on that, donate the money. I will leave my PayPal information down there.
Wait a second.
Oh, no. Okay.